My name is Jacqueline Burgess, and I'm the Executive Director and Counselor here at the Tri-County Children's Advocacy Center. The Children's Advocacy Center works with DHR and law enforcement to investigate cases involving children who have been abused, neglected, or the witness to violent crime. Our job in that is to interview these children when an allegation comes in. We do it so that they don't have to talk to the police or multiple people about what's happened. They just have to tell their story to us one time. We record it, and law enforcement and DHR watch it, and then depending on what is disclosed, we are able to provide follow-up services for that child, such as medical exams, trauma counseling, anything like that. Well, interviewing a child is completely different than counseling. When we interview, we are trained to do it in a way that is child-friendly and not traumatic, but also is not leading. Children are highly susceptible, and so we don't ever want to put words in their mouth or give them any kind of leading questions. So we're going to ask them things like, tell me about your family, or tell us about something that makes you feel scared, something that makes you feel happy. Just very open questions, and we allow them to control the dialogue. And the interview kind of goes wherever the child takes us. During the interview process with the little kids, we use lots of art supplies. So we have crayons and markers. Play-Doh is a favorite with my preschoolers. We like to keep them busy and occupied and make the experience a fun one for them, not scary. We take traditional board games and give them kind of a therapeutic twist, such as Therapy Candyland, which is Candyland except for we're going to talk about feelings when we land on different colors. We play Jenga, but our Jenga has special questions on it. So when you pull a Jenga piece out, you answer a question that goes along with it, and it facilitates a dialogue between the therapist and the child. We do lots of activities, and we try to make everything from the interview to the counseling process fun. Same thing, part of what we do is also helping children get ready to go to court should their case have to be prosecuted. So we bring a lot of those same techniques with us to the courthouse, and we'll stay there with the child and family and do lots of activities with them to make that process as least traumatic as possible for them. Children are imaginative, and we don't want to ever stifle imagination, but in our line of work, we want the truth. So we always let the child dictate where the interview goes. So if we're talking about their home life and they bring up mom and dad, and then that leads us to a conversation, I can ask more questions about dad. Well, tell me about dad, or tell me about mom, tell me about grandpa. We just keep it very open-ended and let them bring things up. And if they don't bring up anything that is concerning, we're not going to bring it up either, for the simple fact that we don't want to plant any kind of seed, especially with our younger ones. The younger ones are the ones that are more easily led. So we are very careful to not use any words that the child has not already given us. That's kind of our typical rule of thumb. They have to bring it up for us to go there. We're not going to ask pointed questions like, did so-and-so hurt you? Or did you see this happen? We always look for little signs that a child's imagination has got the best of them, and typically they give that away by making it a little bit more theatrical. Like we've had some kids, throw monsters or zombies or unicorns into the mix, and we know at that point that, we've kind of crossed into a line where we don't know what's imagination and what's real anymore. It doesn't happen that often, but when it does, we're able to pick up on those cues. All of the children that we see are referred either directly from DHR or law enforcement. For any person who suspects maybe child abuse, you pick up the phone and you either call the police station or you call DHR and say, hey, I suspect, that my neighbor is beating their child. So then the next thing's going to happen is DHR and law enforcement are going to call us. It can be either or. Sometimes it's both at the same time. It just depends on who gets to us first. But they will call us and say, we need to schedule an interview to see if we can figure out what's happening with this child. And after the interview, they become eligible for our other services, which are counseling, medical services, things of that nature. But the initial referral always comes through either DHR or law enforcement. The other thing that we do is we coordinate the MDT team. MDT is multidisciplinary team. So every case involving children is investigated by DHR, law enforcement, and the district attorney's office. So once a month, all of those individuals come here to this office, and we meet specifically to staff these cases. We do that because part of our job at the CAC is to keep up with what's happening with these cases and making sure that nothing slips through the cracks. As you can imagine, law enforcement and the DA's office, they prosecute everything from burglary to drugs, murder, and these cases involving children. However, the cases involving children are what we live and breathe here. So we make sure those cases are not forgotten, and we are in charge of every month bringing them up and say, where are we in this process? We also do what's called court prep, and that means that when a child's case is ready to go to court, we call the family back in and we work with the child and family about what to expect through the court process. Most people only know what they see on Law and Order or TV, and we have to explain to them what's actually going to happen next. Unfortunately, here in our district, court can take anywhere from 3 to 5 years to happen. So a child who was assaulted, abused, or witnessed a violent crime today may not actually go to court and testify to that for anywhere from 3 to 5 years. So as you can imagine, the child gets better, moves on, and so that's why we have to bring them back in and basically do another round of counseling to get them prepared to kind of open up this wound again. We also provide prevention programs to the schools at no charge. We go in and speak to the kids about appropriate boundaries, how to stay safe on the internet, how to report if somebody is hurting you or someone you know. We talk about all these things with children all the way from elementary to high school. That is something else that we provide as well. I do this because I need to know that what I'm doing has purpose and has value, and I can think of no greater purpose in this world than saving children. I want to know every single day when I leave my own kids that I am leaving them for a very good reason. And for me, there's no better reason than to take care of as many kids as I can. I love this work. I love children. I believe that children should be safe and happy and healthy. And I plan on spending my life making sure that we do everything we can to create that here in this community. So that's why I do what I do. And that's why I hope I get to do what I do for as long as I can.